What's up guys, my name's TK and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do this awesome zoom transition. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little zoom edit that I put together to show you how you can use those zooms. Now I'm going to show you how to create those zooms. I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro CS6 with Adobe After Effects CS6. In order to get this transition to work, you will need After Effects. Or if you're on Final Cut, you can use Final Cut, but I don't actually use that, so I wouldn't have a clue. So we're just going to use Premiere Pro and After Effects for this transition edit. So first of all, pick two clips that are going to work with a zoom transition. For this one, I've chosen myself leaning up against this tree and this clip of my eyes. And I want to zoom from this clip to this clip and make it look seamless. So how do we do that? First of all, highlight your two clips or three clips if you want to do three. Right click on them and then replace it with an After Effects composition. Then it should load those two clips into Adobe After Effects. We'll just save it as untitled because I don't really care. Once you've done that, your clips will appear one underneath the other. So first, what you need to do is right click and go to New, Adjustment Layer. Then you'll see this adjustment layer pop up above those clips. Next, go to your Effects and Presets panel and type in Transform. This is going to allow you to use the scale to zoom in. Drag that onto your adjustment layer, click the arrow next to your adjustment layer, click Effects and Transform. Don't click the bottom transform, just click the one that you put in, under Effects. Now click the Transform arrow and you'll see all these options. Now we're going to need to pick a point where we want our transition to start. So it needs to be fairly close to the end and fairly close to the start of the second clip. This seems far enough, so I'm going to choose here. Then you want to click on the stopwatch on your scale, which is inside your adjustment layer. Then you're going to want to drag it towards the end of the first clip and change the scale to whatever you feel works. For me, it's going to be 250, I think. Next, we go to the start of the second clip and we have to scale down. Now we're going to have to make this clip a lot smaller than it actually is to get the effect to work. The way this effect is so effective is the fact that it makes it look like you zoomed into a normal clip but kept its true quality. But in reality, what we're going to do is mirror the edges, which is going to be the next step. But first of all, go the same length on your scale on the second clip and change it to its normal size, which is 100. So now we've got sort of a zoom going on there, but it's not as great. So now that brings us to the next step, which is Motion Tile. So type in your Effects and Presets, Motion Tile. Click and drag Motion Tile onto your adjustment layer. Make sure Motion Tile is above the Transform, because this will affect how it works. And if it's not above Transform, it's not going to work too good. So, go down to Motion Tile and click the arrow on Motion Tile. Then, because we don't really need the Motion Tile for the first one, because we're not trying to cover anything up, but this one, we need to cover up all the black areas and make this look like one clip so we can make the zoom in effect look good. How we do this is we click on Output Width and Output Height on the stopwatches within the Motion Tile. This will create a keyframe inside your sequence. Make sure you create two keyframes behind, and that'll keep it at neutral because we don't need any motion tiling on this part, and this is where we want to make the change happen. So we're going to bring up the output height until it covers all the black areas and the output width so it covers the black areas. Then we're going to want to click Mirror Edges. This is going to help it look like one continuous clip, even though it looks like I've got a nose for a mustache. But it's going to work, guys, trust me. Then we want to go underneath the next keyframe. Make sure your keyframes are in line too, otherwise it's not going to work perfectly. And now we're going to want to change the output width and output height back to 100. That's 10, that's my bad. You don't want to keep it on like 300 or 240 because that'll make it take forever to render and you don't want that. So now that we've fixed up the black areas and made it look like we've zoomed into a full picture, which we sneakily haven't, the next step is to type in offset. Click and drag offset onto your adjustment layer. Now the reason why we're using offset is so we can choose an item within the image that we can zoom into, so it doesn't just zoom into the middle of the frame and look cheap. So go to your effects in your adjustment layer and click on the arrow offset. Make sure it's underneath your keyframe. Click the stopwatch on Shift Center 2 and then move it over to the next keyframe and grab the target in the middle of the screen, pull that towards your desired object. I'm going to pull it about here. And now this is going to cause it to gradually move up to that object. Of course on the next one it's going to stay the same because we haven't changed the keyframe. So I'm going to move this target upwards, only a little bit, and then towards the end I'm going to move it back to the center. So now that we've got this zoom moving in the right direction that we want it to move in, the next step is to make it smoother so it doesn't start off sharp and end too sharp. To do that, we need to click on one of the scale's keyframes and then click on this graph up here. This is going to be very important within your editing process. Next, we want to make sure that keyframe is highlighted and we're going to choose easy in out, and that's going to give us a pin that we can pull and make it gradually ease out. The top one, we want to use the gradual easy ease in pin, pull that one down so it's got a nice slope going on there. We want to do this to the other side as well in order to get this to work properly. Okay, so now that we've got that moving a lot smoother, next we've got to fix this little jump here with the offset, which isn't quite right. So we've got to go to the offset and do the same thing. So click on one of your keyframes from the offset and click the graph editor. Make sure you pull these down to the line because that's actually where they're meant to be. And then click on the easy ease out tool and do the same thing you did with the scale. Be careful not to move any of the keyframes out of their original place, or this could cause problems for the zoom. The offsets, easy ease ins and easy ease outs should match the scales as well, so your movements should be relatively the same in order to pull off this zoom effect. Now our zoom is actually looking pretty good. The next step is to add motion blur. So type in motion blur in your effects and presets panel. Click and drag motion blur onto your adjustment layer. Now, you should have a good looking zoom that's blurred and hides all the editing that we just did. And that is how you do the smooth zoom transition. Now that you've done all that hard work and you don't want to have to do it again, make sure you save it as a preset. To do that, go up into this window here where you've got your effects and everything that you've done to them. Make sure you hold shift and click on each one, and then go up to animation, save animation preset. Save it as whatever you like, and it should come up within your effects and presets panel. I've saved some under my name here that I've been working on. That's secret, stay away from that. And now you can just click and drag it onto your adjustment layer, and it should be the exact same as what you just created. Now keep in mind, everything you do in After Effects will automatically save within Premiere Pro. That is if you replaced it with an After Effects composition. So what I've done in After Effects will be the exact same in Premiere Pro now. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this zoom transition tutorial. I'll be doing more tutorials on transitions and special effects in the future, and even some transitions that you didn't even know about. So subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tutorials. And don't forget to check out these videos next.